Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Shinrin Yoku, and Yurt Life, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Tuesday, January 2nd, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time 2024. The Quadrantid meteor showers are about to peak in just about 24 hours. Up to 120 shooting stars per hour could be visible during a brief peak of the Quadrantids. Keep calm. It's boom time. First major winter storm of 2024 could bring the first significant snow in 2 years for New York and Washington. Major winter storm is brewing with snow, ice, and rain to blast the Northeast. In fact, millions in the Northeast, including those along Interstate 95, could face their first major winter storm of the season this weekend. Travel conditions will deteriorate due to snow, ice, and rain, and the full forecast is coming up. Now, before the storm gets to the Northeast, heavy snow is headed for much of the Sierra Nevada. And a mild Wednesday before the winter storm then enters New Mexico, and our region, with winter weather advisories spanning 5 southern Utah counties, and the Four Corners region where we sit. Here's the full forecast. A strong storm in Alaska, Pacific storm across the west, and potential winter storm in the east. A strong storm with an associated front continues to bring impacts to portions of Alaska, including the Aleutian Islands through Friday. Blizzard and winter storm warnings are in effect for those regions. Meanwhile, mountain snow, heavy rainfall, and coastal impacts continue on the West Coast. For the East Coast, impactful winter weather may be possible this weekend. The models are shifting. We're going to get to those in just a moment. So buckle up, Buttercup. A big one is coming. And no one is bumming as we are in a deficit for snow in the West. Now, that significant snow in the East could also be associated with major flooding. So heed the warnings as the models continue to progress. The snowfall totals look amazing. So let's just walk it through Wednesday into Thursday, when that system is going to be hitting the Four Corners region by Thursday. It's going to be dipping down the Pacific Northwest here tomorrow and into Thursday morning. By Thursday morning, 16 inches or more should have fallen on the Sierra Crest there. So major snow needed and major snow coming. Here is Thursday all day through Friday morning. The snow is going to move through the south of the Four Corners region, northern Arizona, central Arizona, and the main ski resorts, as well as all of New Mexico. And most of the Four Corners region will pick up snow. Friday, it's going to be moving east. Saturday morning, it will have hit the southern Appalachians. By Saturday morning, it'll be moving up the I-95 corridor, and the current models are showing significant snow all the way to Philadelphia and South Jersey. And that is in the form of maybe 6 to 10 inches for the suburbs of Philadelphia, as typical of a northeaster of this type. Now, if we move the models through, multiple systems are going to be moving across the U.S. through mid-January. Here is January 15th. Quite an epic setup happening. And good news, we need the snow. Ho, ho, ho. Shut up, Al. Get in your hole. Al Gore is very upset about these models because they keep getting deeper and deeper, and he keeps, well, getting denied bunt cake in his hole. Now, as far as the mainstream media and their fear-mongering, the Arctic and Antarctic couldn't be better. They're looking fantastic. In fact, Arctic ice extent as of yesterday is now at a 10-year high, going all the way back to 2013. And so there is no loss of ice, even though the mainstream continues to report on it. Now, Antarctic ice extent was palpably low for a year, but has since recovered and is now returning to the multi-decadal norm. But no one in the mainstream is going to be reporting on those facts. Now, will they? Now, on to the seismic update. 48 dead in Japan as the death toll will rise significantly. And we're going to be showing you some video, and you will know why after we watch it. At least 48 people as of this afternoon have been killed in the powerful 7.5 magnitude earthquake that struck the Noto Peninsula and surrounding areas in central Japan on New Year's Day. As more reports on damage come in and rescuers race to find survivors amid continuing aftershocks on Tuesday, the magnitude destroyed houses in Suzu on the tip of the peninsula, caused fires in the city of Wajima and Ishikawa Prefecture, but the full extent of the damage remains unknown. And when we watch this video footage, you will understand that the full damage, well, the death toll is going to rise. Let's take a look. These residential areas are completely obliterated. With the death toll sitting at 48, you can see in some of these communities, complete loss of buildings. I am sure the death toll is going to rise quite spectacularly. 48 is a very low number at this current juncture. Now, there were in complete high rises that were obliterated, including multi-story apartment buildings. And I think we might get some of that footage. Now, the bad news is that even after the collapse and the destruction, first responders couldn't get into some of the hardest hit areas, and fires have started. And there is one of those residential buildings that have toppled with people currently stuck and being rescued at this moment. Here's a 7-story building in Wajima. So you can imagine the death toll is going to rise quite considerably, unfortunately. Now, we do have a link for you directly to the site where the eruption is happening. For 14 hours, they've been live streaming damage from the area. It is still going on, and you can watch some of the massive landslides and other damage from the 7.5 magnitude earthquake in Western Japan. And some of the footage here is quite spectacular. It has been running live now for 14 hours of powers. So go get some of the live footage we will be providing for you tonight. Explosions and shaking on Roosevelt Island caused by a New York City earthquake, a very rare one. A rare earthquake rattled parts of the Big Apple early on Tuesday, prompting some shaken residents to mistake the tremor for an explosion. City officials said they initially thought an underground blast had shaken a building on Roosevelt Island, prompting a flurry of emergency calls and a massive fire department New York response. But that the incident turned out to, in fact, just be a minor earthquake. A 1.7 magnitude earthquake just west and north of Queens near Randall's Island. The rumble was the strongest quake to hit the city since October 27th of 2001, when Gotham faced a 2.5 magnitude earthquake, according to Fox Weather Center. Otherwise, earthquakes in New York City are few and far between, with Tuesday's tremor only the 8th quake since I was born back in 1971. So those are the facts. Not an explosion, but in fact an earthquake on the Big Island. The rest of the seismic update for the world, we've got 2 recent tremors, a 5.3 aftershock in Japan, And some activity here, 5.2 in Papua New Guinea at a depth of 51.7 kilometers. No other quakes of note worldwide, which is good news as we look towards the future of increasing seismicity and volcanism. Liwa Tobi in Lakali volcano in Flores, Indonesia, elevated activity continues. This is after some explosions happened about 36 hours ago, and the alert level was raised to 3. We've also got Sabancaya today, 20,000 feet, Fuego to 14,000. Nothing out of the ordinary, Semeru to 14,000 feet, Ducono, 10,000 feet. Nevado de Ruiz seems to be quiet today. Suanos Hema puffing and passing to 7,000, but no quakes of no volcanic eruptions of note, and which is good news. All is quiet on the Western Front. As we go over to space weather news, we are awaiting a geomagnetic storm. Now the 3-day geomagnetic forecast has been dropped down to all quiet, as many in the field of astrophysics, including Samatha Skov, thinks that this one might have missed us. And as of this update, the CME that left the sun late on December 31st, generated by an X5 solar flare, has yet to be clearly detected in the telemetry. Let's go over here to Discover Solar Wind to show you what we mean. Here is the rise in coronal hole speed. There has been no shock in the last 30 hours, which we should see if, in fact, a coronal mass ejection did hit us. We would see a shock in density, an uptick in speed, and perhaps temperature as well, but definitely a shift in the BZ. We haven't seen that. The BZ is appearing to be shifting. This could be a slower moving stream than they predicted, and we may still enter geomagnetic storm in the next 6 hours. But after that, the probability of us hitting it is very low. And according to the latest NOAA and SWPC updates, the X5 CME was mostly a miss. Geomagnetic storming is no longer in the forecast, but we're going to keep a close eye on that because we know that these money funders, well, they don't know much now, do they? But there would be no major effects from a G1 geomagnetic storm anyway. So there is that. Let's take a look at the aurora forecast. Not looking too shabby. Might see some aurora up in that aurora belt up in the Arctic Circle, but nothing to low latitudes to sparkle our interest. There was one event, a low-level M flare that just happened about 6 hours ago. We'll be waiting for some information on that, but it will not be a threat in any way to Earth. As we wait for telemetry, perhaps to spike, it is not. So the geomagnetic storm has probably missed us. Even though the forecast was for a rapid blow all at once and quite a large event here over at the WSA Enlil spiral. You'll see that X flare blasting out there and that huge plasma stream, that superstorm hitting us. But in fact, if we go back up to the top stream here, the upper stream, yeah, very thin glancing blow did not occur. May occur in the next 6 hours, but will be much weaker than expected. Now, good news, the Quadrantid meteor shower of 2024, the year's first meteor shower, blazes over North America January 3rd. Up to 120 shooting stars per hour could be visible during the brief peak of the Quadrantid meteor shower. The year's first meteor shower, which is coming to North America January 3rd and 4th. Yes, the Quadrantids will peak this weekend and could bring up to 120 shooting stars per hour in the night sky. It has the potential to be the strongest meteor shower of 2024, according to the American Meteor Society. But with such a short peak of just 6 hours, the shower's climax can often occur during daylight. This year, the predicted peak is 7:53 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 4th, which means my region early in the morning on January 3rd will be awesome, or January 4th, 3 or 4 a.m. And according to Earth Sky, that makes the pre-dawn hours from around 4:35 a.m. Eastern to dawn the best time to observe the shower for North America. Those in the western regions of the continent, like me, will have the best chance to watch the Quadrantids earlier at night. How do you like them apples? The West is the best, bro. About 25 shooting stars per hour are typically seen in a dark sky during peak of the Quadrantid, according to the American Meteorological Society. However, it is likely not worth traveling to dark skies for this event in 2024 because a bright last quarter moon will be in the sky just as the Quadrantid's peak. What a tweak, but a good-looking meteor shot regardless. Now, bad news again coming from Japan today. A Japan Airlines plane burst into flames after a collision at a Tokyo airport. All 379 people miraculously on board the jet made it off alive, but 5 Coast Guard members were killed in the plane that collided with it. That's crazy. What a bad few days for Japan. Now, while landing in Tokyo, a Japan Airlines jet hit Japanese Coast Guard aircraft, causing the passenger jet to explode, killing 5 Coast Guard members on the other plane. Japan Airlines said all 367 passengers and 12 crew members on the plane were safely evacuated. How that happened is anyone's guess, but obviously a New Year's miracle. Footage of the incident shows Japan Airlines Airbus A350-900 on fire as it slid across the runway. Flight 516 departed New Chitos Airport in the northern prefecture of Hokkaido and was scheduled to land in Hainda at 5:40 p.m. The Times reported. Footage from the incident showed the firefighters trying to put out the flames. While no one was killed on the A350, at least 17 of the evacuated passengers were, in fact, injured, which makes complete sense. And our thoughts and our prayers go out to them as the second day of the new year leads to more tragedy in Japan. And that's a boom to knowledge. Please share this video as we are shadow banned and we need your help to grow. Become a Patreon in the new year. Support the work we do and watch all of our podcasts in one place, commercial free. That's Patreon. Hit the thumbs up. It's free. It helps with the algorithm. And maybe, just maybe, if enough thumbs up happens tonight, I'll give Al a little sliver of bun cake. We'll see you tomorrow for the next update. And that is a boom.